It's the early morning of February 13th, 1942. The waters off Singapore are eerily calm, the rising sun casting long reflections across the sea. 3 small British patrol boats lie at anchor, gently rocking in the tide, their crews unaware that within hours they will be fighting for their lives. Among them is the HMS Li Wo, a modest passenger steamer hastily armed and pressed into service by the Royal Navy. Once a civilian vessel, now she carries a single 4-inch gun and a handful of machine guns, a fragile warship born out of desperation. Beside her float the Phu Wo and another small vessel whose name has been lost to time, ghosts among the chaos of war. On board the Li Wo, Captain Thomas Wilkinson sleeps lightly in his quarters. At 50, he's an old sailor with a calm manner, deeply respected by his men. He knows Singapore is doomed. The city is burning, Japanese forces are closing in, and by dawn, they must flee south towards safety. Every man aboard understands what's coming, but none speak of it. Then a distant hum disturbs the morning stillness. The low, steady sound of engines grows louder. Within seconds, it's unmistakable. Aircraft. Wilkinson jolts awake, throws on his uniform, and rushes to the deck. Above, the sky is filled with the black shapes of Japanese bombers, glinting in the sun as they wheel and dive. 2 bombers peel away from the formation, heading directly for the Li Wo. "Air raid! Take cover!" someone shouts. The scream of engines fills the air. Machine gun fire rains down, bullets ripping through the wooden deck. Explosions tear open the upper quarters, sending splinters and smoke skyward. Wilkinson ducks through the chaos and reaches the bridge, heart pounding but unhurt. He looks out across the harbor and smoke, fire, and the thunder of bombs. Then, through the haze, he spots Salvation, a coastal anti-air battery firing back at the planes. Thinking fast, he shouts to his helmsman, "Full speed ahead! Get us alongside those guns!" Below deck, men scramble to load ammunition, while on the upper deck, an RAF sergeant and a Navy sailor rush to 2 stationary Lewis guns. They swing the weapons skyward and open fire, tracer rounds stitching across the sky. For minutes that feel like hours, the little ship fights back with everything it has. The Li Wo's engines roar to life, surging toward the shore guns. Together with the anti-air battery, they create a curtain of fire. The Japanese pilots, confused and under pressure, break off their attack. The sky clears. For a moment, there is silence, broken only by the sound of waves against the hull. The men breathe again. Wilkinson steadies himself and calls to his signalman, "Radio the other ships. We're leaving this place." As the Li Wo turns away from the burning coast, several men linger at the rail. Behind them, Singapore burns, the flames reflecting off the water, a city falling and a nation on the brink. Hours pass. The small convoy sails cautiously through an Allied minefield, every man watching for danger. The unnamed vessel parts ways, leaving only Li Wo and Phu Wo pressing south through the Bangka Strait. On board, the RAF sergeant and sailor take turns manning the guns. They scan the horizon constantly. The tension is heavy. Every shadow in the clouds looks like an enemy plane. By late afternoon, their fears come true. "Planes! Starboard side!" Black specks appear in the sky, growing larger. The bombers have returned. Wilkinson gives sharp, calm orders. "Hard to port! Keep her steady!" as the men scatter to battle stations. The Li Wo twists through the airstrikes, her small size and speed making her a difficult target. The Phu Wo, though, is not so lucky. A bomb slams through her deck and detonates deep within. The explosion sends flames billowing into the sky. The crew fights to save her, but the hull is cracked wide open. Hours later, the Phu Wo is deliberately beached on Bangka Island, scuttled by her own men to prevent capture. Now, Li Wo sails alone, a single ship in an ocean controlled by the enemy. The men are exhausted, but Wilkinson's resolve hardens. They must reach Batavia, 200 miles away. The next morning dawns gray and cold. The sea is quiet, too quiet. Then a voice from the lookout pierces the stillness. "Smoke off the port bow, 10 miles ahead." Wilkinson raises his binoculars. What he sees chills him. The silhouettes of 11 Japanese ships. 8 are troop transports carrying soldiers bound for the invasion of Sumatra. The other 3 are warships, their guns glinting in the morning sun. The bridge falls silent. Every man knows what that means. There is no way around them. To retreat is suicide. To go forward is madness. Wilkinson calls his crew together. He explains the situation, calm, direct, without false hope. "We've stumbled upon a Japanese invasion force. There's no escape route. I'll hear your thoughts." The answer is unanimous and immediate. "We'll fight, sir." A quiet nod from the captain. The decision is made. He returns to the bridge, straightens his uniform, and looks toward the enemy fleet. "Very well," he says softly. "We'll take as many of them with us as we can." The men ready their single 4-inch gun, 13 shells. That's all they have. They check every weapon, load the Lewis guns, and prepare for battle. For 30 long minutes, the Li Wo moves forward unnoticed. The sea is eerily calm. Then, finally, Wilkinson gives the order. Fire! The gun roars, the shell streaking across the water, and misses. A second shot follows. Another miss. The Japanese lookouts turn their glasses toward the sea. A third round is fired. This one hits. The shell slams into the side of a troop transport, igniting fires and killing officers on deck. Alarms erupt across the Japanese fleet. Warships begin to turn, but the Li Wo is too close to the transports. The Japanese gunners hesitate, fearing friendly fire. The British reload, firing shell after shell. Rifle bullets hiss through the air. The RAF sergeant and his partner return fire with furious bursts. Smoke and chaos engulf the decks. When the armor-piercing rounds run out, the crew switches to high-explosive shells. The blasts rip through the transport superstructure, sending men diving overboard. Their final round is shrapnel, a massive shotgun blast. It hits, but the enemy ship remains afloat. Wilkinson refuses to quit. "Ram it," he orders. The Li Wo charges forward, her engines screaming. On the enemy deck, Japanese sailors scramble to a gun and open fire. The shells rake across the Li Wo's deck, cutting down several crewmen. The RAF sergeant, standing tall amid the chaos, swings his Lewis gun and cuts the enemy gunners down in a hail of fire just seconds before impact. The Li Wo crashes into the transport with devastating force. Steel tears against steel. The ship shudders violently, her bow crushed but holding. A second Japanese ship passes within 200 meters, its soldiers firing wildly. The sergeant, unfazed, turns his gun on them and sprays the deck. But the Li Wo is doomed. The hull is torn open, water pouring in. Her engines die. Then the Japanese warships open fire. Massive shells scream down, detonating all around. Wilkinson knows it's over. Calmly, he gives his final command: abandon ship. Men leap into the burning water as explosions rip the ship apart. Within minutes, the Li Wo capsizes and sinks beneath the waves, disappearing into the deep. Of the 86 men aboard, only 7 would ever return home. The brave RAF sergeant's name is lost to history, but his courage is not. Hours later, the Japanese transport, the Li Wo, had rammed Burns uncontrollably before slipping beneath the sea. Captain Thomas Wilkinson, refusing to leave his post, goes down with his ship, steadfast to the end. For his valor, he is posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military honor. The story of the Li Wo is one of defiance, a tale of ordinary sailors who faced impossible odds and chose to fight anyway. A small ship, a doomed mission, and the unbreakable spirit of those who refuse to surrender. If you want to learn more about the world maritime history and strategic disasters that shaped World War II, subscribe and join us for the next story. Which legendary ship should we explore next? Let us know in the comments. and thank you for watching.